Hi, everyone. I show it is 7 o'clock and we'll get started. My name is Sandy Hart. I'm the chair of the Lake County Board. And on behalf of my colleagues on the board, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. This is our 5th town hall since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. And I hope we're able to answer many of the questions that have been posed to us and those that you and your neighbors have been talking about over these long months. We're incredibly fortunate to have some people here tonight who have been working really diligently throughout this entire pandemic. And I just want to say thank you so much to each of them for being here tonight. I am joined by my colleague, Paul Frank, who represents the 12th District on the Lake County Board. He also serves as the chair of the Financial Administrative Committee. Also, Mr. Jonathan McGee, he is the Deputy Director of the Regional Economic Development for the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, also known as DCEO. So I'll probably use that acronym going forward. Carmen Patlin, Ms. Patlin is the Executive Director of the Highwood Public Library, and she also serves as a Community Health Ambassador, not just for the Lake County Health Department, but also for the Highwood community and really beyond. And of course, we have Mark Pfister, who is here with us all the time. Thank goodness. He is the Executive Director of the Lake County Health Department. And really, it's just, it's been so wonderful working with Mark and learning from him and his team. And really, I've been in awe of everything they've been able to accomplish over this time. And lastly, we have Maureen Reedy. She is the president of the Lake County Convention and Visitors Bureau, and she's been hard at work as well. And I would be remiss if I did not thank Sylvia Escarcega, who has been serving as our interpreter, and we could not do these town halls and get the information out to all the people who really need it without Sylvia's help. So thank you so much to Sylvia for being here. If people can't stay the entire time, no worries. We will have this available on our website if you want to view it later. And please tell your friends and family they can view it if there's something that you've heard here tonight that you think might be helpful to them. Before I begin, I do want people to know that we did receive a few questions about things that weren't really related to COVID-19, the virus, the vaccine, and really the recovery. And those are still important issues. But because this town hall is really focused on COVID-19 relief and recovery and the virus, I would just request that folks go ahead and reach out to your county board members. And you can also visit our website at lakecountyil.gov for a lot of information that can be found there. So, but again, our county board members are there and they are always happy to help. So we received many questions. We always receive the most questions about the vaccine and the virus. And so I'm going to start there. And please know that you are welcome to put questions into the chat. And if we have time to respond to those, we will absolutely do that. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over. I've got a question for Mark Pfister, and we were asked this question in many different ways. So we've kind of put it down to a very short question, which is just how are the vaccinations coming along in Lake County?
Well, good evening, Chair Hart, and thanks for having me again here today. And it's a pleasure to be here in front of our Lake County residents. I did want to start with a big thank you to all of our residents in Lake County. You have really persevered over the last 407 days, and we just so much appreciate your vigilance over that time. Social distancing, washing your hands, and masking. It's been so important to stop the spread of COVID-19. And when I compare our county right now compared to McHenry, is our positivity rate is still pretty low. You know, we're at about 3%, and our new cases continues to plateau and not grow. So again, that's all thanks to you. And then Chair Hart, to your question is that, you know, how's the vaccinations going? I also want a big thanks to our thousands of volunteers that really have helped us vaccinate over 420,369 doses have been administered in Lake County. And that's thanks to our volunteers, to some of our major corporations that have provided volunteers and funding for that, and all of our other partners like our hospitals, our pharmacies, other medical providers across the county. So it's not just the health department that has contributed to that success, it's all our other partners that have helped us with that. And some other great news is that every pre-K through 12 staff member throughout Lake County has been vaccinated if they wanted it. So that's one huge success, is all of our pre-K through 12 have been vaccinated if they wanted it, fully vaccinated. Also, our 65 and above population, we now have over 76% of those individuals have at least had their first dose, and we're really gaining that 67% of that population is fully vaccinated. And we all know that that population was most impacted for severe disease, hospitalization, and unfortunately death. So it's going really well. We are opening up new partner vaccination sites in Round Lake. Just opened up Round Lake Beach. We have one that is opening up at the old Kmart on Rollins that has opened, but it will potentially get up to 5,000 doses per day. We also opened up a new facility in Deerfield with another one of our partners, and we have another new site opening up in Zion. So we're in a race to vaccinate as cases again are increasing in other parts of the US and in the state. Our goal is actually to vaccinate 80% of our population. So our population is 700,000 people, and we want to get 560,000 vaccinated within at least a 6 months period of time. And we're on target to do that.
Well, that is amazing. Thank you so much. And I'm so pleased that you mentioned all the volunteers, because really when you go and you're getting a vaccine and you see so many people there, so many of them are volunteers. And then we also couldn't do it without the help of the National Guard. So thank you so much, Mark, for bringing that up. So I have been hearing, and I'm fortunate I'm on the county board, and so I get to hear a lot of this, and then it goes out to the public. But are there other large vaccination sites that are going to be opening up in Lake County anytime soon?
Yeah, so one of the sites that I just mentioned in Round Lake Beach is opening up out at the Kmart on Rollins. That's another great partnership, Chair Hart. And by the way, thank you for your volunteering out at our fairground site. Oh. And so Baxter International is actually leasing that building on our behalf. And then we're working with the provider, Curative. They did start vaccinations out there yesterday, a slow start, as we call it. And so they did 256 doses there. But ultimately, that site can jump up to 5,000 if we have enough vaccine supply. And I should mention, that's the only thing that's holding us back. We have the capacity to vaccinate people. We just don't have the vaccine supply. And we've been averaging about 13,000 first doses every week. But if you think about it, if we're trying to vaccinate 560,000 people and we're only getting 13,000 first doses every week, that's going to take us multiple weeks. So the other great news is we're getting 33,720 first doses this week, and we're hoping to get even more next week, which will speed the process even faster.
Thank you for talking about that, and about how just that we don't have enough vaccine, and what we have is really an outstanding infrastructure to deliver a lot of vaccinations, and that's from our nonprofits, and as you said, the businesses and the hospitals. I think you had told me at one point sort of a general number. I'm not going to hold you to a solid number, but you said, hey, look, I think we've got the infrastructure to do, so many thousands of vaccines per day if we can get the vaccine. Can you remind me of what that number was, please, Mark?
Yeah, easily we have the capacity right now. We could easily do over 10,000 doses per day. And frankly, we're getting very close to that. We've been averaging about 6,000 to 7,000 doses per day being administered to Lake County residents. And, don't forget, we now have pharmacies all across Lake County that they're able to do about 21,000 doses a week, with additional allocation they're getting from the federal government. But if we have the site out in Round Lake Beach at 5,000 a day, we at the health department at the fairgrounds, we're going to be doing 3,000 doses a day. Potentially 6 days a week if we have vaccine supply, 500 doses at our Waukegan site, the Deerfield site, 1,000 a day. So easily the hospitals could scale up. We could easily do 20,000 doses or 30,000 doses a day.
Wow. Thank you very much. It's truly staggering when you think about, really, we just started getting vaccines in December. It's just a tremendous increase in the amount of vaccinations that you guys have been able to provide, and what you have the ability to provide into the future. So thank you, Mark. This next question is for Carmen. Carmen, do you have a sense of what percentage of Lake County's people of color have been vaccinated? And can you talk a little bit about what's being done to really target that population, since they've been so disproportionately impacted?
Right. So we have about 27.4% of individuals vaccinated that are non-white. If we break it down further, we're looking at 8% of those people vaccinated are Hispanic or Latino. And it gets even more concerning when we go to the African American community that are only at 3% fully vaccinated. And so the efforts that we need is really to build and establish that trust amongst these communities. For many reasons. There's layers of distrust. And so some of the efforts that we're working on is certainly to create community ambassadors, the trusted voices. And so that's part of the Promotoras program. And so in the Latino culture, Promotoras is a familiar term that symbolizes a trusted voice within the community. So connecting individuals to these types of trusted voices is what's going to help us bridge this gap to get families to understand how critical it is to get them to get the vaccines. Right now, for example, here at the Highwood Public Library, one of these organizations, we're an organization that's working very closely with the health department, very closely with community partners to really get families the resources that they need. Many families do not have access to transportation. They have the digital divide. They don't know how to register into AllVax. So the community ambassadors as trusted voices are playing a key role in this throughout Lake County. One of the things that we're doing here at the library is certainly making this facility a vaccination pod. So over the last month, we have been able to partner with Walgreens to vaccinate about 1,200 community members. So we can confidently say that Highwood, Highland Park, Latino communities are receiving this resource, which is critical because we know how heavily COVID impacted the small restaurant industry. So the way that we're bridging this gap is by, again, establishing this communication and this trust within the community through the trusted voices of ambassadors.
Thank you. And I know a number of people, and that's a volunteer thing that you guys are doing. So thank you. So how do you do that? Right. I mean, I know many people know you, Carmen, really throughout Lake County. But how do you go and contact people if if somebody wanted to help?
So the Lake County Health Department is working very closely with community members. They have a link or website that you can get connected with. We can share that information on how individuals can become a promotor or a community ambassador. Many of the local nonprofits are also deploying community ambassador programs. We have one here at the Highwood Public Library. Anyone that's interested in volunteering and wants to learn more about this could certainly reach out to us by connecting to our website and or calling us here at the facility. And so it's that simple. If you want to be engaged in the community, we will provide training, we will provide you the resources and the know-how. This is basically grassroots organizing, grassroots community engagement. If you have been already fully vaccinated, you understand the value of getting this vaccine, you are able to connect individuals to understanding how you made that happen for yourself. And so as a trusted voice within the community, certainly another peer would be more willing to hear you and hear your experience. But again, like you said, it's a volunteer, it's volunteering, it's a grassroots effort, and many partner agencies are providing this volunteer opportunity. Also, one of the things that the promotoras are doing is going to the vaccination pods, like the one in Round Lake. We are there, we're the trusted voice. We are bridging that relationship with the community members and encouraging them. If you have other family members that are in doubt, here are myths and realities of what the vaccines are all about. So you are also educating these individuals to learn more on how they could educate their peers. If an individual has, in our culture, if an individual has a bad experience, then they're going to share that bad experience with 10 other individuals. So we don't want that to be the case. We want everybody that comes to these pods to walk out of there with that hope and with that that desire to eradicate COVID, because we know how devastating it has been in the Latino community.
Right. Well, thank you, Carmen. Thanks so much, not just for being here tonight, of course, but for everything that you've been doing and for all your fellow community health ambassadors and everybody who's volunteering. So thank you. My next question is for Jonathan McGee. It says, we all know that COVID-19 has been devastating to the small business community. And I have been reading about opportunities coming down the pike regarding COVID-19 relief for some of the businesses. So I thought this would be a good question for you, John. Could you fill us in a little bit on that, please?
Definitely. Thank you, Chairwoman Hart, for the invitation. And thank you, everyone in Lake County, for having the state of Illinois here. I want to start by saying, we definitely understand how challenging this has been for the business community here in Lake County. And so I really want to spend some time talking with you all about what resources are currently available, what resources will be coming down the pike, but most importantly, how we can help set you up for success, whether you're a sole proprietor or a mid-sized company or a small business. There's ways that we can work with you. So number one, most of you have probably been hearing about PPP and, all of the debacles there. And, our team has really been providing customer service and support most recently around that program, specifically making sure that if you need connections to a CPA, right, someone who needs to walk you through kind of the back end of this, we have access through our Community Navigators program, which we're going to actually expand through, the new American Rescue Plan. So, we also have bilingual services to help with those federal programs. But most importantly, I know we're interested in grants. And I know folks hear loans and, they hear the trepidation around that. And so some of you may not have known, but we had one of the largest grant programs in the nation, last year, and that was our Business Interruption Grant Program. And I know that a lot of folks did not get a chance to take advantage of that, although it was $220 million. And so I know the governor is looking to double down on that commitment. Number one, expanding that funding. And so what we're trying to do now is prepare for how do we set up an ecosystem of support for businesses, not just here in Lake County, but across the state. And ways that we're doing that is, number one, expanding that program. So we have community-based organizations. So I know, Carmen, you work with a lot of community organizations. We want to find organizations that are serving minority communities and the communities at large to help them understand how to walk through these applications. And so that's in addition to my team, which is the Regional Economic Development Team. I keep my handy dandy map here. We got folks all across the state, and I'm happy to share that contact information. But we also have an office for minority economic empowerment. And that office is dedicated specifically to ensuring that we're serving the minority community, African Americans, Latinx, folks with disabilities, veterans, the AAPI community, Native Americans, and the like. And so, we have bilingual services as well that we offer. And then in addition to that, we have our Small Business Development Center network, which will be working to help with the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, which I know a lot of you all are hearing about and what that entails and what that encompasses. And, our goal is to make sure, number one, we can break that down for you, but number two, help you understand what paperwork is needed. Lender matching is another thing that we do here at DCEO. We know a lot of businesses are unbanked and underbanked. And we want to make sure that you have those connections. So I know there'll be other questions, so I won't go too deep, but we want to reload our business interruption grant program. So you'll be seeing that in the next coming months. And those are grants that you can use in tandem with PPP and other funds. But two, we also want to make sure that, if you want to access the federal programs, that you have an infrastructure of support there as well. So thanks, Sandy.
Well, thank you. That is a ton of information. And actually, I'm kind of interested. You gave the example of like, hey, if somebody needs, a CPA to help you with some of the stuff. So, and hopefully we can add some of that information in the chat or wherever our awesome communications team is doing that. But I would not have known that was available. So perhaps having that DCEO contact information, I think would be really helpful. So thank you for talking about that. And I'm interested in learning more about that one. My next question is for Maureen Reedy. Speaking of what just Jonathan was saying, what has Visit Lake County done to support the bars and restaurants over this past year? And what are your plans for this summer?
Thank you. Thanks for having me here to talk a little bit about the hospitality community. I think you all know how hard hit it's been. One of the worst sectors in the industry in the world, I think, in terms of what's happened during COVID. But we've been really working hard to support restaurants and bars and done a lot of different things. At first, it was just trying to get all that information into the website and know who was open and who was offering takeout and, you know, a lot of those kinds of things. And now we've really turned to doing special promotions. We've done a couple of restaurant rallies just to showcase what the restaurants were doing during the time period and encourage people to get out and support the restaurants in whatever way they felt comfortable. And we know that not everyone wants to go into the restaurants and bars right now, but obviously any way you can support them. They're still really struggling. And but now that the weather's warming up, that certainly is helping, and outdoor options are available. And we're running a Lake County Restaurant Week coming up in May. So May 14th to 23rd. We will be showcasing restaurants in Lake County with special menus and prizes and promotions and things. So you'll have to check out our website for more information on that. But it's just another way to get out and support the restaurants. And we really do want to thank residents. I think they understand the importance of these restaurants and bars. They're like the fabric of our communities. They're so important to the vitality of our neighborhoods. So whatever you can do to continue to patronize them, these small businesses, I know they will appreciate it. They're just getting back on their feet now.
Thank you, Maureen. And I always love to hear you talk about the work that you do because you're always super passionate. So I know we'll hear a little bit more about some of those promotions that you're working on, but I just want to say thanks because I know you've been there for those small bars and restaurants as they've been trying to get their footing and survive through this time. So thank you. Next question is for Paul. Is there an opportunity to split property tax payments into 4 dates? Splitting the payment dates was very helpful last time.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Hart. Can you hear me okay? Okay,
yep.
Good. Just want to double check in the video.
Yeah.
This is a question that, as Chair of the Finance Committee, I've gotten a few times in the past couple of months. People may remember that in a sort of urgency of the moment last spring, the board decided to make that change. It created some technical and logistical challenges, and there were not a very large number of people that took advantage of that opportunity. So what we decided to do as a board was relook at that, at how to do it on a permanent basis to transition from 2 payments to 4 payments. And the treasurer from the county came to our committee and we had a discussion about it. At the end of the day, there is a significant cost to county government, which ultimately is a cost to the taxpayers for hiring additional full-time personnel at the county and a significant investment in software changes and technology changes. And so when we were in the midst of our budget for this year, we were still making very difficult choices. We implemented several cutbacks to our county budget. We froze salaries for our county employees. We even at one point removed from some paid holidays from the calendar, although we were able to pay them back when the budget situation changed a little bit. But the significant cost of hiring people on a permanent basis and the risk to try, basically members were not interested in raising taxes during this crisis to try and make that change. And so it's not something that we're able to do this year, but it is something that members will be interested in hopefully talking about in the future.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And I do remember, and kudos to Treasurer Kim, because she did not hire additional staff. And so they were working, really having to work overtime to get those 4 payments done in a timely manner. So thank you for kind of providing that background, Paul. My next question is for Mark. Can you please explain
Yes, Sandy, we lost you there for a little bit. You want to repeat that question?
Pause in the Johnson.
Hi, I'm Gary Gibson. I'm the county administrator. It looks like Chair Hart is having some technical problems with her system at home. Oh, it looks like you're back.
Am I back? Okay, thank you. I can see when everybody else freezes, I think, oh, shoot. So I'll try to be quick. What's happening with the pause in the J&J vaccine and other vaccines?
I think that's for you, Mark.
Yeah, I think that's for you, Mr. Pfister.
Be available to the community.
Yeah, so thank you for that. So I'll just kind of repeat the question. I think I heard was that last Tuesday, the federal government actually put a pause on the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, and that was based on guidance from CDC and FDA and the Illinois Department of Public Health, that we actually followed that guidance on that pause. One of the things about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, it does appear that there may be a potential link for a very rare but severe type of blood clot in individuals that have received the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. But ultimately, this was 8 individuals out of 7 million doses. So it's extremely rare. These are adverse events. But when we talk about risk, that there was less than 1 in 1 million risk. And all of these cases, for the most part, occurred in women between the ages of 18 and 48. And their symptoms occurred 6 to 13 days after vaccination. So right now we know that there's no cases reported in Lake County. The main reason for the pause was really to ensure that doctors knew what to look for and how to correctly treat that blood clot. So Lake County providers, such as us, all we did was we didn't end up having to cancel any appointments for those that we had slated for Johnson & Johnson. What we did was we moved Pfizer vaccine over to the site where we were going to be using Johnson & Johnson. So we continue vaccinating with Pfizer and Moderna. We think that as of Friday, that pause may go away with the FDA and the CDC review. There may be a warning label on this, but I wanted to say to the public, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is an extremely effective and very safe vaccine. So all 3 vaccines that we have are strongly recommended that everybody get vaccinated with. So once that pause comes off, we will continue offering Johnson & Johnson in Lake County.
Perfect, thank you. Looks like my internet is working. Sorry about that. I have another one for Mark. How many cases of the variants are we seeing in our county? And are there certain shots that are working against the variants? Will boosters be needed? And if so, how will that be handled?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So I'll answer all 3, hopefully concisely. Is that Lake County right now has about 32 cases of what we call the UK variant. That's the United Kingdom one. That's one that is very infectious. The good news is it doesn't necessarily cause severe disease, but it's extremely infectious. It can cause severe disease. We also have had 3 cases of the Brazilian variant and also 2 cases of the Californian variant. But these are really probably an underrepresentation of the total number of variants that are circulating in Lake County, because only a small fraction of the number of isolates are being looked at to determine what variants are there. So we want our public to be very vigilant to continue, because we know that UK variant is very infectious. So we still have to follow the 3 W's. But all 3 vaccines have shown some effectiveness against these variants. We do know that there are boosters on the horizon, and you have to think about these vaccines just like our flu vaccine. Right now, you need to get a flu vaccine every year. That may be the case for the next year or 2 years or potentially 3 years with the COVID-19 vaccine, that we'll need to get booster doses if the virus continues to mutate. But the main thing is that if we can beat this virus, the virus cannot replicate. And if the virus doesn't replicate, it won't mutate. So that's why the onus is on us to continue doing what we're doing to make sure that we're not spreading COVID-19 from one another. and to get vaccinated. That's the most important thing.
Thank you very much. So this is, I'll go back to Carmen. Does Lake County have plans to vaccinate our diverse immigrant population, including those residents who may be undocumented?
We certainly hope that that is the case, and we trust that that is the case. So Lake County is committed, sorry, I'm in the office here. Sorry. So Lake County is committed to ensuring all people have access and receive the vaccine. That is certainly not a doubt. This includes immigrants, regardless of their immigration status. Lake County has a large immigrant community, as you are very familiar with, but it also has South Asians, Asian American, Pacific Islanders, and more from other countries. So we're a very diverse county. We know that in Lake County, Latinos make up the largest population of the immigrant and also the undocumented immigrants. So we have partnered with the Lake County Health Department to create a couple of groups, especially one group targeting this demographic, which is called La Asociación Comunitaria Latina, also known as ACL. This organization is led by Latino leaders, by Latino local nonprofits, or Latino-run local nonprofits. And so the whole goal is to come and organize around this issue and encourage, again, families to go and seek out that resource. Also bridging them to the resource. Like we've spoken before, there are a lot of barriers that prevent these families from reaching this goal of getting the vaccine, but there are efforts, very strong efforts, working towards mitigating this virus amongst our community. And some of those efforts include working directly with the ACL group. The takeaway here is that all people, regardless of immigration status, and or health insurance status, are eligible for the vaccine, and we want them to get the vaccine as soon as possible.
Thank you very much. And hopefully my, okay, looks like it's fine. Also, just the fact that the vaccine is free, right? I know there were a lot of questions in previous town halls. So it is free and nobody's going to ask you if you're a citizen or whatever. So thank you, Carmen. This one's actually for our staff. And I know I've got Matt Myers and Cassandra Torstensen, and everybody heard from Gary when my internet was going out. But we did receive a number of questions about rental assistance, both from landlords and from renters. So I know we have a really robust program and some protections in place for both of those parties. So, and then we also heard some questions about mortgage assistance. So I don't know if that's too much at once, but Cassandra, I see you turned your video on. So if that's something that you could speak to, that'd be great.
Absolutely. So there are a lot of opportunities out there for assistance for both landlords and renters. Just recently, actually, Lake County received an additional $21 million to help provide rental and utility support to our community in 2021. And we're calling that the Federal Emergency Rental Assistance Program, or otherwise known as FARA. You can receive help from the FARA program by calling 211 and reaching out through that to find out who the best provider in your area is that can help you out. You can also go onto our Lake County website and type in the search bar FARA and get a lot of detailed information as to who's qualified for rental assistance in Lake County, how you can reach out and get assistance, and then also some links to get to some applications. And then in addition to rental assistance program, I know we've heard some questions about landlords and needing help for the landlord directly for their tenants. So we can help landlords through this program. The landlords can initiate the process for the tenant by completing an online application. And then the application will then prompt the tenant to complete their portion. So we can, by starting with the landlord, you can then get to the tenant as well and help both parties to be able to get assistance.
Perfect, thank you. And I'm sorry if I missed it. Did you mention anything about mortgage foreclosure, or do we have any guidance on that?
So for mortgage foreclosure, some good news is the moratorium has been extended. It's not going to expire right now. I have that date. Let me find it. The moratorium on foreclosures actually is extended through the end of June, and there is additional assistance coming soon. We have been monitoring the Treasury. They've announced that the state of Illinois will be receiving about $387 million in assistance for homeowners. So we continue to monitor that and other related resources that may be coming to the county through either the federal or the state. And then In the meantime, though, until that money is available to be able to help homeowners with mortgages, you can call 211 to access housing counseling resources that can help negotiate, the forbearance process.
Perfect, thank you. And we're so fortunate to be a part of the 211 and have it here in Lake County. It's run by United Way, and the Lake County Board really believes in this, and grateful to former board member Steve Carlson for his hard work in getting that up and running, because I know during this pandemic, it's really been a great option for people. So thank you for putting that out there, Cassandra. I think that's really important. My next question is for Jonathan. What are additional programs that the DCEO offers or implements that can really help support the economic recovery, and I'll just say in Lake County?
Definitely. And I appreciate that, because what I'm hearing is, a lot of trends that we're thinking about here at the state level. So we are gearing up to offer additional rental assistance through our LIHEAP program, including weatherization and other programs there as well. So we are thinking about this holistically. And I think what we've noticed is, the business community, while looking at the residents and the workers, are just as important, right? And that includes childcare as well. Which, DCEO was critical in working with IDHS to administer our child care restoration grants. Now there's been another federal infusion for that as well, and that will be coming open in coming months. And so, really what I want to kind of share with you all too in the business community is that, not only do we have, grant opportunities for COVID-19 relief, but recovery is really going to be focused on a couple things: access to capital for small businesses. And again, we do that through our Advantage Illinois loan program. We also have our fund for the advancement for minority enterprises, which is specifically focused on helping minority-owned businesses who otherwise would struggle getting, financing and capital from banks to have access to a program. And we really work, hand in hand with lenders as well as, small businesses to do that. But I also want to talk about our tax incentives and the programs that we have to help small businesses retain dollars. And so whether that is through, our enterprise zone program or our apprenticeship tax credits for workforce, one thing that we're trying to do here at DCEO is figure out, how do we help you retain the income that you're getting? And you can do that through a variety of ways. The state has been at record spending numbers along with the federal government. So if you are a small business or a business that's not certified to do business with the state, I would encourage you to reach out to our team to do so. The state of Illinois spent over $800 million in procurement. And, a lot of this is key opportunities, for businesses, specifically in Lake County. I know a lot of manufacturers that pivoted to help support COVID-19 efforts. A lot of small businesses, created cloth masks and other things as well. And so I would just encourage, businesses to think about ways that they can leverage taxpayer dollars to put taxpayer dollars back in the pockets of the taxpayer. Another piece that I want to talk about too is our iStep program. So, a lot of businesses have been thinking creatively, how do we make sure that our products not just get to the folks in our community, but the folks beyond our community? And so we have an office for trade and investment. And really what that office does is help match your dollars to help market and export the products that you create. And I know Lake County has some very innovative and creative products that you all produce here. And so we want to make sure that folks in Africa and the UK and other countries can see the great things that are created here in Lake County. And so really just wanted to talk about kind of all of the myriad of things that we have here and programs we have here at DCEO. And again, just talk about that. We are here to walk through this with you. So I don't want you leaving this presentation like that guy said a lot of things I don't understand, because to be honest with you, we have a team whose job it is to make sure that we walk you through and provide that white glove treatment and help you understand and translate a lot of this complex stuff. So really, I just want to, broaden your level of understanding around what we offer here at the state, but also to put a face to the name, right, of somebody that you can reach out to. Our emails are very simple. It's just my name on the screen at illinois.gov, right, Jonathan.McGee. So I will also drop my information in the chat. And again, just would encourage the residents of Lake County to just reach out to us to start the conversation about how we can help you. So thanks again, Sandy, and really want to figure out ways that we can continue to help you all get on that path to economic recovery as we get vaccinated and continue to kind of move the ball forward.
Well, thank you. I hope you get inundated with emails and phone calls, because it is it's a good thing to be overwhelmed by, right? That you're saying, hey, we can do this and we can offer that, and we've got this assistance and we have this training, and I mean, it's so much. So I'm sure the website, and I've spent some time looking around in there, I know it's helpful, but it could be confusing to really understand everything that's being offered. So really appreciate, Jonathan, you offering up your email so that people can get the help they need, because everybody's ready to get those businesses back and up and running and getting back to the core work that they've been doing. So thank you very much. So speaking of that, I'm going to go to Maureen. I had a few questions about Great Wolf Lodge and about Six Flags, Ravinia, Marriott. So do you know if all of those are now, are they open? Are they planning on being open? And just a sense for some of the festivals that we're used to seeing and getting people from outside of Lake County coming into Lake County. Are we going to see some of that planned for the summer?
Yeah, I'm happy to share some good news on that front as things are opening up more in Lake County, and start out with Six Flags, because we're thrilled that they finally got approval to reopen, and they're opening actually this weekend. So Saturday and Sunday they'll be open. Of course, it's a very strict reservation system, and masks are required everywhere, including on the rides. But they've got a lot of protocols in place, and I think people should feel comfortable going there now. But because of the reservation system and the limited capacity, they will be selling out a lot of weekends. So get your reservations in early for Six Flags. But then we're so happy that Ravinia is planning to open up probably in July. We're waiting for announcements on exactly what concerts they will be having. And of course, it'll be scaled back season, but they are planning to open the pavilion, the lawn area. So again, something to look forward to. We mentioned Marriott Theater. They're waiting till we move to that bridge phase because of the capacity restrictions in the theater. They're hoping they could open by fall. But as you know, it takes a long time to ramp up a show and get that production going. So we're hoping they can open in fall. Waiting to see what Lake County Fair does. They're not sure yet. They're also waiting for that bridge season. A lot of communities are, they're scaling back their summer festivals, or they're moving them to later in August or fall. So we're seeing a lot of movement right now. So I think one of the things you should do is keep checking our calendar of events on our website, because we're trying to keep all that information up to date, but things are changing quickly on that front. I mentioned Temple Lipizzans is having performances this summer, because that's an outdoor venue. So we know that's happening. And one of the fun things that's a sure sign of summer is that Blarney Island is opening on May 15th. So mark your calendars now. Again, because, that's a huge venue, and obviously you need to get there by vote. And there's just so many opportunities in Lake County we have so much outdoor recreation with all of our trails and our biking and those kinds of things. So I really encourage people to get out and take advantage of this great weather that we're going to soon experience.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Maureen. I appreciate it. And now I'll turn to Paul. What are the county's plans for the money you're getting from the relief funds from the federal government that was announced a few weeks ago?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So Lake County is fortunate enough to be receiving some funding from the American Rescue Plan Act, as municipalities in the state of Illinois will be also. Last year, when we received funding under the CARES Act, we had a very short time frame to develop the best uses and the best plan for those funds, which would help people who were, feeling the financial impacts of the crisis. And there were some real restrictions on how we can use those funds. We had a special committee where we developed policy guidelines, and the county administration, working with our community partners, provided small business assistance grants to nearly 800 businesses in Lake County, a total of about $17 million that the county administration worked on with Lake County partners. And we heard from some of those businesses. We know that those funds help them stay open. And I think that's one area that the county board is interested in investing again this year. We're not there yet in terms of the process because the federal government, number one, hasn't provided the funds yet, and number two, hasn't issued the rules. There will be restrictions, there will be limitations on what we can use the funds for. But I think it's safe to say that this county board is very focused on providing necessary assistance for people who are dealing with food insecurity, dealing with housing challenges, small businesses who need assistance to stay open. So, real basic needs to support people in the best way we can. And of course, our county health department and health professionals who are helping us to continue to manage with vaccinations and the ongoing impacts of the health crisis.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And I appreciate you bringing up some of the work that we had done. Absolutely helping our small businesses and helping people who are experiencing homelessness. That has been a real focus for us, and also making sure that those people are getting vaccinated too. That's really important. So I just want to say thank you, Paul, to you and to our colleagues who serve on Finance Administrative Committee. They have spent many hours making sure that those monies are really going to the right place. And you can imagine that over time, some of that ebbs and flows, right, as we're learning about where those needs have really existed over the last year. So appreciate my colleagues' leadership on that and thoughtfulness too. So thank you. Mark, the next one is another, I always give you like 3 questions at once, so I'm just going to do that again. How do we have a sense how many vaccinated people have tested positive for COVID-19? So they've been vaccinated, have they ended up getting it? And how likely is it for somebody who's been vaccinated to transmit the virus? And do we have a sense about lifting mask requirements?
Yeah, so the first question is that it's relatively rare that we're having what we call breakthrough cases, where you have somebody who is vaccinated and then ends up being tested and turns out to be positive. So if we look across the whole state of Illinois right now, we only know of about 700 cases of people that have been vaccinated that then tested positive. Here in Lake County, we're probably less than 30 people right now that have been vaccinated and then tested positive. So one of the things that we really don't know yet is that many of these people were asymptomatic, so they didn't even know they had symptoms or they didn't have symptoms. So it's easier to determine somebody who is positive if they have some of those symptoms. But some of these individuals were asymptomatic, so it's very hard to know. But the other piece of that is that we don't know exactly if you are vaccinated, if you can still transmit the virus. Now, the beauty of the vaccination is that you should not have virus replicating in your body. So then theoretically, you shouldn't be able to spread it to somebody else if you don't have as much virus available. So that's something that is being researched and looked at. But at this point in time, we still want people to wear masks, especially in crowded indoor venues. We know for a fact that COVID-19 is best transmitted in indoor crowded venues where people are not masked and where they're not social distancing. So that's something that we really want the public to continue to do. And, we're still in phase 4. And as Marina's been talking about this bridge, we're getting closer to that bridge where the more people that get vaccinated, the greater the herd immunity, then the closer we get to that time where we don't have to wear masks, especially indoors. But if you get vaccinated, here's the other great thing. CDC has already said that if you are vaccinated, another couple is vaccinated, let's say, you can be indoors and you don't have to wear a mask. We still want you to social distance, and we still want you to monitor your conditions. But the bottom line is get vaccinated and we can get our lives back quickly.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'm going to go to Carmen, just about the motivating and encouraging residents to get vaccinated. And you kind of touched upon it at the very beginning, right? There's a long history of minority communities not getting the proper medical treatment they deserve, and really just even having access, right, to healthcare. So how do you overcome some of that, just in light of all of that history?
Well, I think that we know that it's not a one size fits all. There are many different scenarios that impact the families that we work with, but one of the things that I'm going to keep reiterating is how important and how critical it is for us minorities to come together and get to understand and get to know our communities that much better so that we're able to bridge them to these resources. So through the ACL and the African American Community Partnership Group, which is called the AACPG, and the Lake County Health Department, we have engaged organizations, leaders, and again, those trusted voices to come together and develop community-informed approaches to motivate and encourage Lake County residents to get the vaccine. Also, Lake County, as we know, and we all know this, is a very diverse and community or county, and we cannot, like I said earlier, take a one-size-fits-all approach to these issues. We also have to understand that there is a history of events that have generated distrust between communities of color and the government. And so how do we bridge that relationship again? And so it'll take more than just information sharing. It's going to have to be us people of color coming out and bridging that trust again with our people of color. And so some of these strategies I mentioned earlier, like you said, Ms. Hart, is that we cannot stress enough how important it is to get boots on the ground, to get that grassroots organizational efforts going, that person-to-person conversation in a culturally sensitive manner, and to bridge that trust with our neighbors, our family members, our coworkers, our faith leaders, and build and expand on those relationships to reach everyone. And we have that ability. We have great organizations in the ACL and the AACPG, and again, our great partnership with the health department to make that happen. So our ultimate goal is to get 100% of our minority communities vaccinated.
Right. Well, thank you. And I think having all of, am I having trouble again?
No, we can still hear you.
Oh, good. Sorry. Okay. So I think having all of these pop-ups, vaccine sites, and then, the one you have in Highwood, then we've got a mobile vaccination unit. I think that just really helps things go a long way. And I know there's been some walk up, not just walk through opportunities at Water Street. They've got the drive through, but also some walk through and some walk in opportunities too. And I think that makes a big difference in getting people vaccinated. So thank you. So Jonathan, one thing I wanted to ask you about is you talked about businesses doing business with the government, and that there's like training programs, and that's something that we're looking at doing more here in Lake County, right, for local businesses who want to contract with the county. So can you say, is there like a training thing that people go through? Is it like a video? What does that look like, please?
So number one, in a pre-COVID world, we have 9 PTACs. These are Procurement Technical Assistance Centers, and these are federally funded. And now, post-COVID, they have virtual services. But what they will do is help you from start to finish with certification with the state, as well as bidding for state opportunities, as well as really helping you understand, how you go about that process. Now, in addition to PTACs, my team, Chairwoman Hart, really helps folks understand and think about, number one, how do you identify, how to get certified with the state as well, so that, not only can you take advantage of opportunities locally, but how do you take advantage of opportunities federally as well? We have hub zones, we have, so many opportunities through the federal, state, and local government that, what we do is webinars, virtual programming, we have our PTACs, but I think the biggest piece is we want to meet directly with businesses and identify what is it that you do, right? What's your industry? How can we figure out, what's the best match? Because the other thing that I think, is important to talk about here is every state grant, every program that we put out has what we call a BEP spend. So like our business enterprise program, we have to meet certain metrics and percentages, both as an agency through procurement, but grantees who do construction work. So if contractors, folks that are builders, we have apprentices that want to, help support major infrastructure and growth. And someone mentioned Lake County Partners, we want to make sure at the state that they have the vendor pool that they need to meet their supplier diversity needs, but two, that we can help cultivate that vendor pool, because a lot of the times we will have businesses and companies and, other folks also reach out, which is the other piece of this, right? It's not just government. To be honest with you, we want you all contributing to the supplier diversity efforts of companies here in the state of Illinois. And so what we try to do here at DCEO is educate small businesses on, get certified to do business with the government, but how can we help connect you with companies that are looking for suppliers, right? And folks that are producing materials. The other thing that I wanted to share that I think goes in the same vein is, what we saw a lot of small businesses suffer from is not having that digital presence. And I heard someone mention the digital divide. One thing that we focused on here through our Office of Broadband is, number one, we have a PCs for People initiative. So if businesses don't have access to devices, we have a state-run program where we're providing low-cost devices for businesses so they can create that digital presence. But then again, we're also formulating those partnerships with organizations like Groupon and others to help folks sell products. So, a big piece of this too is demonstrating your capacity for doing the work, and all of that kind of wraps around with not just are you certified, but do you have that presence so that you can demonstrate what you're doing, but three, that capacity, right? And so what we do is help, connect subs with primes, right? Because a lot of times, and basically it's government speak, but you have someone who's an actual prime contractor and they have a main contract, but then small businesses and a lot of folks that are certified can also subcontract. And so what we try to push here in the state is, how do we connect the dots between both sub and prime contractors? But it starts with helping to create the vendor pool so that it's there, and a diverse vendor pool at that. Because, a lot of companies want to do this work, but they come to us and say, Jonathan, we don't have the vendors. And so what we want to do is work, hand in hand with Lake County. We want you all to come to our PTACs, which I'll drop the link for that in the chat, but also know that you can come to my team for not just, COVID-19 relief, but everything under the sun. And one thing we didn't get to, Sandy, I know we're getting the time,
Although we only have like 3 minutes left, and there's a couple questions I want to get to for Mark.
I'm just going to say for workforce,
Okay.
For folks that, are looking for jobs, they're looking for skills training. We have 22 workforce agencies. So I know a lot of folks have been displaced, and we know that you're looking for work, and companies are looking for you to work for them. So I did just want to touch on that, Sandy, but I know.
Thank you. No, that's super important. And thank you. That is absolutely, a lot of people are out of work. Absolutely. So thank you for bringing that up. So one of the things that we had a question on is, when will vaccines be available for our healthy kids? And how will Lake County go about vaccinating teenagers?
That is a great question for me to end on tonight, because we definitely want to get our kids vaccinated, because we are continuing to see transmission in our youth, especially we've seen some increases in those that are on sports teams. And so the great news is Pfizer has actually submitted what is known as the emergency use authorization to extend it for 12 to 15-year-olds. So right now, Pfizer is the only vaccine that can be used for those under the age of 18. So Pfizer, we are currently vaccinated kids from 16 and 17 years of age, but they have asked to extend the EUA to 12 to 15. I can also say that Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, and Pfizer are also conducting clinical trials for younger populations, and that's from infants on up. So we're hoping that those trials go well and we can start vaccinating even younger children. So what we're doing right now is that we are actually sending our list to a partner that is assisting us with different school districts that have 16 and 17-year-old kids. And then those individuals are going to be vaccinated by that provider, with their parents. That's one thing, is that as a parent, you do need to be present and provide your consent for that vaccination for a 16 and 17-year-old. Also, we're going to be planning on doing that out at our fairgrounds site. So that's coming. And then if we do have more vaccines that are approved for use, then we will actually go back to opening potentially our partner pods with our schools that helped us vaccinate the pre-K through 12 staff. We could offer additional pods at different schools for school-age children, whoever is able and able to get that vaccination.
That's awesome. Thank you very much. And I swear we could probably make this go even longer, but as folks can see, a lot of people are still in the office, like Mark. He's always in the office, it seems. So I'm going to end it. Well, I'll just about end it, but I would be remiss if I didn't take time to say thank you so much to all of you for being here, to Paul Frank, Jonathan McGee, Carmen Patlin, Mark Pfister, Maureen Reedy, and of course our interpreter Sylvia Sagarsiga for making this possible. I also want to thank our communications team, so Hannah Gehring, Aaron Thrower, and Alex Carr for being here and putting this event together. And I want to thank our county administration team. So we are led here in Lake County by an outstanding staff of professionals who are dedicated to public service. And I always say they make our county board look good because they just do such an outstanding job for us. So thank you to them. I know they are on tonight. And also thank you so much to everyone for joining us this evening. Thank you to the residents who, as Mark said, I think it was 440 days that we've had so far. I'm not sure if that was the right number, but it's really been a test for so many people. And I'm just really grateful for everybody who has just gotten through this and really been part of that volunteer network and helping friends and family and neighbors and people they've never even met to get us through this. So again, this town hall will be available online, and you can visit lakecountyil.gov for more information. And thanks again so much for being here. Hope everybody has a great night and stay healthy and safe. Thanks.